Okay, so have we found the problem? Have I been sitting here talking to myself? I have a feeling that I might have, because I've only just seen your comments here. Thank you, Lisa. Thanks one and all. So can you just let me know now, is that what was happening? You couldn't see me. I had actually said good evening, Tanya. So Tanya, a bit strange. There's actually been a few things strange this afternoon, and I would say that's because of the day that I've had. Kelly, are you there? So can you all, thank you, Kim Jane. Thank you, Joe. I've actually been sitting here for the last 15 minutes having a lovely chat with myself. Kelly was kind enough to let me know that the website wasn't working, and that was because I had pressed a button that I shouldn't have pressed. And I might tell you I haven't been able to correct it, but I did get the site back up. And now I've been sitting here talking to you for nearly 15 minutes, but turns out I was talking to myself, because when I pressed the go live, it didn't actually go through, and I didn't notice that. So thank you all for your patience. I've been having a lovely time here by myself. Nice to have you. Thank you, Tanya. Enjoy, everybody. Thank you very much. Kelly, I hope you're still here. And Sabrina also, just let me know if you're here, everyone, and then I shall start again and see what comes through this time. Oh, truly, Karen, entertain myself sometimes. I opened with, hi everyone, it is Monday, Soul and Beyond with Gwenda. And oh boy, what a Monday it has been. I don't want to scare anyone, so I won't share with you what has been going on for me today with clients in sessions. Oh, cool, Kelly, thanks. Hi, Letitia. Yes, and welcome, Letitia. I have just explained what happened there. So for 15 minutes, just about, I was talking to myself. Anyway, here we are, not to waste any further time. I began with letting you know about this event. So I have, hi Sab, you are here. Yes, it was just me and the computer. You know, I've had a very, shall I say, interesting day with a couple of healings, and that's all I'm going to say about that. But this is no surprise to have these funny things happening this evening. So as you know, those of you who were on recently, and we had Archangel Ezekiel come through, I then announced to the members of the Spirit Seeker Society, and I also put an email out via my website, that I'm now going to hold, as a result of Archangel Ezekiel's presence and all of the beautiful things that he brought through about healing and forgiveness, I'm now going to hold a workshop on the 2nd of December from 10 a.m. This is Perth time, 10 a.m. until 12 noon, and you can register there. I'm going to leave that up so that you can write that down, and you must write it down as it is shown, otherwise you won't go to the link. And when I find the right buttons to press on the website, the page should be the front page. So healing and forgiveness. When people look at healing, they will come to a healer, which is a great place to start. They might even go into meditation circles, and I'm going to pause on that one being a great place, but I will say it's somewhere to start. There are things like mantras, affirmations, chants, exercise. There are all sorts of tools you can use to begin a healing journey. And then there is forgiveness. Now, over the decades of working with people on healing, it's not an easy thing for most people to be able to bring into their reality. And then there's forgiveness. And so many people struggle with forgiveness. To be able to heal in its entirety, it is necessary to understand where this issue has come from that's brought your body to be in a state of dis-ease and illness, or maybe it's inflamed. So the topic when I was talking to my beautiful participants in the Soul Mastery Collective today was around focus, acceptance, and forgiveness through total honesty with yourself. Now, so many people very easily will say, oh, I'm always honest with myself, and I'll beg to differ that you're not. Don't make me look through here and give you some examples online, all right? There is so often things that have come up in our lives and we will fob it off as, oh, it's okay, it doesn't matter, it'll be all right. It's not all right. When there is something that has brought us out of alignment, to have issues going on in our physical body, there is nothing all right about that. And it takes courage to be honest with yourself. And that is one of the most crucial keys of healing. So on the December the 2nd, Saturday, December the 2nd, when I run the Healing and Forgiveness workshop, I'm going to take you through the keys and actually help you address the real root cause of what it is that you are experiencing. And I'm going to also talk about the power of the words you use. Because one of the words that became a really big thing in the spiritual community is trauma. And the hold is on trauma, and all of the talk is about the trauma I experienced. When you say that word, you can feel it in your body. It is a very low vibration, low frequency word. Now, true trauma is like a massive car accident, falling down a mine pit. It is real trauma is something like that. When something happens to you, as people like to claim, this happened to me, that is not trauma. That is, you've been traumatized. But with the way that the spiritual community in particular like to manipulate words and change the true meaning of them, trauma has become an attachment for many people, and it is actually creating more upset, more being out of alignment in the body and in the emotional body than ever. The same as all this mother wounding, womb healing, all this stuff. The fact is, you've got something going on in your physical self that has an emotional basis that has never been healed. And if we want to carry on about my mother wounding, then our focus is on our mother. Shouldn't be on our mother, because we are the one who are carrying whatever whatever the story is. And that prevents healing. So anytime that we have some kind of attachment to somebody else's actions and we want to claim that as a trauma, we are actually hindering our own soul and we are hindering our own life. Definitely hindering healing. So, oh, did you, Karen? Good on you. Oh, Mandy, hello. So looking at the words you use is really important. And when you go looking to do healing and you go to a healer, I'm going to ask you to think very carefully about where they have learned from and what they understand about energy. I've come across a few modalities recently where they believe that they can go from one person to another person to another person. So they can have 3 people in one session and they are offering healing energy. Now, if you know anything about energy and you are bringing in healing light, you do not transfer from one person to another to another. Whenever we stand in each other's presence, we are in each other's energy. And whatever is being transmuted, transformed, put between us, flows between us. So when you have a healer who claims that they are bringing in energy to heal in any kind of modality, and then they go straight on to the next person, they are actually carrying that person's energy across to you. Now, there's also this train of thought that because energy will come up or go down and meet itself wherever it's at, that if we've got 3 people having a healing in the room, everybody's energy is going to be the same. I call rubbish on that. What is happening is that each person there is affecting and infecting each other person. And that healer that is going from, healer in inverted commas, who is going from one person to the next, is negligent. They clearly have an ignorance of energy. Now, I can already hear people saying, oh, but I do protection and there'll be protection and I protect my energy. Well, bah humbug to that too. Because when you are directly in someone else's energy and you are touching their physical body, when are you going to cleanse and get rid of whatever you took in from them? To be able to effectively not take on anything from someone else you touch, you would have to be an extremely highly evolved soul, light worker, yogi, whatever you want to call it. Now, I have done this work for over 38 years, and I still will not go from one person to another to another. And it's one reason you do not find me at the likes of psychic fairs or the likes, those sort of things. Everybody, I can hear people, each to their own, and that's absolutely right. So what I'm putting to you, you take from it what works for you and you can leave the rest. But you can also check out how you feel when you've gone to someone on your own or whether you've gone to someone in a group. And that leads me on to the other favorite word is meditation and meditation circles. Now, yes, I teach meditation. Yes, I hold meditation circles. However, I can't teach you how, or anyone, how to meditate in an hour. And nor can you learn how to meditate in an hour or even over a 6-week period. True meditation is not what is represented in the West, particularly by quick school yoga people who practice at gyms. I'm not even going to say they practice, they do yoga at gyms. What they are doing is bringing you into a place of quietness, not even stillness and silence. And those are two of the keys for real meditation. Most of the population of the Western world can't even get out of their own mind, can't get out of a busy mind and the idea of having to be doing. So to be able to accomplish true meditation would be nigh on impossible for people who are in that way of living or that way of life. Meditation is something, true meditation is takes you to a whole different level of consciousness. And it's not something that can just be picked up with like you've gone shopping. It takes dedication, years of practice. Unless, of course, as I said, you're a highly evolved soul and you can just slip in there and disappear. And in true meditation, the meditator can actually get out of their physical self, go wander around. They can transform themselves. They can go to different timelines. That's true meditation. So when we're looking at healing modalities, so many tools and practices are available, and they are most definitely a place to start. However, they are not something that you do. The tools, the practices are something that you embody and you become and you live them. Until you can live your personal values in all you do every day, and you can be truly honest with yourself. And as I said, don't make me look. Don't sit there and say, oh, but I am Gwenda. I will look. Until you can actually live that way and understand intentions and what it is to set an intention, how to set an intention, then it's going to be a very long path for you in healing. Forgiveness. A young lady said to me on the weekend, I'll forgive myself, but I'm certainly not pardoning the other party. And I thought that was a brilliant line. So I'm prepared to forgive myself, but I'm not going to pardon them. So rather than saying I'm not going to forgive them, there is an insinuation there, an assumption that forgiveness means pardoning. And no, it doesn't. And this is another thing that Western society have been duped about when it comes to forgiveness. Forgiveness is not about pardoning. It's not about condoning and excusing. Forgiveness is the most powerful healing that you can offer yourself. And it is necessary for you to forgive the other party. Good evening, Linda. Welcome. It is very necessary. It is, in fact, the key to healing. Now, what would you possibly want to or need to forgive yourself for? Well, you have a look at your conversations when, say, a relationship breaks up or something happens in a current relationship. You berate yourself for being stupid. You berate yourself for staying so long. You get angry at yourself for letting that person treat me that way. So you put a lot of weight onto yourself because a part of you recognizes that you didn't stand up for yourself, or you didn't move away from a situation that you knew was no good for you. And then you look at the other person and you just about choke at the idea of forgiving them. You know, there is, yeah, that's correct, Kim. Forgiveness corrects the dynamic straight away and consistent intention every day. It's very true, Kim Jane. Thank you for that. Now, my train of thought. So, forgiveness is far from pardoning, definitely far from condoning, accepting, excusing the behaviors, the actions of anyone. In the Bible, it is said, "Forgive them, Lord, for they know not what they do." And that one too makes people's hair stand on end. Like, how could they not know what they do? They did it on purpose. And yes, if we're looking at brutal behaviors, it can be said it was done on purpose. It can be said it was done with intent to harm. That's why there is, charges through the law that go that way. But it goes deeper than that. So with the help, the guidance of Archangel Ezekiel, I'm really looking forward to running the Healing and Forgiveness workshop on the 2nd of December. Everybody who is in the Spirit Seekers Society, please make sure you go to your link in the society for you to be able to attend. And then if you have anyone that you think would really enjoy this and could do with it, please take them to this link that is on the screen now. And I'm going to take that away for now, but put it back again shortly for you. And now we're going to have a look at what is going on for you. I am delighted to say that I do have the presence of a most beautiful ancient man that I thoroughly enjoy speaking with and having him present, and that is Moses. Recent times, I had a beautiful conversation with the Egyptian god Thoth. And funnily enough, when he first appeared, he looked like Moses. Similar, probably because of their era, maybe. So we have Moses with us this evening. And one of the things that he is talking about just now he is referencing the wandering souls, and that the parting of the ways is coming soon. Hi, Claudia. Lovely to have you here. Yeah, me too. Make sure you go and book it on the link in the society. He's talking about the... oh, excuse me. Wow. We'll just sort that out, will you? rather than choking me. So the wandering souls that are those who really don't know what it is that they want to be doing in their life that don't have faith, trust, belief, and they are really very lost. Wandering soul is a beautiful term rather than lost. Moses shows me that for all those who are wandering aimlessly, they will get swept up in the commotion. They will get swept up when things come through to cleanse the earth. And by cleansing the earth, he is referencing what you might remember if you've ever read biblical stories. And the only reason I reference this is so that you can get a picture of what he's talking about. There was Noah and the ark, and the reason Noah built the ark was to save pairs of everything because of the great flood. Moses is offering his guidance on the pending great flood. And in that will be a tremendous lift up and loss of those who are wandering souls, but also those who can no longer remain in this world. And why can't they remain? There is a myriad of reasons. And one thing for you to really get your head around is it really isn't your concern or your business as to why someone can no longer stay in this world. There may be people that you would wish to leave, that you would wish things would come and pick them up and take them away, but it will remain to be seen as to whether or not those people are picked up and go when this big flood comes. Now, is it tomorrow? No. Is it next week? No. So please don't panic yourselves, but rather focus on enjoying your life right now. Focus on enjoying all the people and everything around you that is beauty, that is peaceful, that is enjoyable, and that lifts your heart. And I know that Claudia likes to be out, she's a bit like me, likes to be out in the garden. So these things to bring your heart into a space of greater peace and joy are really simple. They're not things you have to go looking for. If you do have to look for something that brings you joy, then I would really encourage you to think about being brutally honest with yourself about how you feel about your life, how you feel about what is appearing to go on in your life at this time. We have a few elementals among us, Tanya. Is that lovely? It's very good for you, isn't it, gardening? So being able to find the things that bring your soul and your heart into alignment means that you're going to find quietness for your mind. And therein begins some healing. You know, the mind gets very bossy, and sometimes it can have a mind of its own, right? So people say, I can't quieten my mind. And I'm going to say, well, whatever you decree is exactly that. Whatever you wish to say it is. Because you hold power in what you say. And if your conviction is that you can't do something or I can't change it, then you're right. And that's how it will be. I can't quieten my mind. I can't stop my thoughts. I can't stop the noise. Right, and more right. Because that's what you're claiming. That's what you're affirming. So it's not going to change. It's interesting how the divine bring people in front of me and the ways they bring them in front of me. And just recently, that's awesome, Claudia. We'll have a video of that, please. I recently had a video pop up, and literally popped up from YouTube. And I thought, why is this in my face? So I had a look at it and I listened to the gentleman that was talking, and I thought, my gosh, I have spoken this so many times for such a lot of years. And now to hear a doctor, and he is 77 or 78 years of age. He's been a doctor for a long time. But what I heard him say was he came to realize that it didn't matter what treatment was being offered to a patient or put upon a patient. So he used old terminology, which I really like, rather than client, which means money, to the hospital system. He said that he realized it had nothing to do with what was given to them, and that's why placebos work. It all came down to their attitude and their expectations. I nearly fell off my chair. I was so excited. So here we have this doctor of 77 years of age, and he was talking about his experiences as a young doctor and what he discovered. And when he, of course, put it to his peers, and especially those in psych, they would not accept what he wanted to tell them. Thankfully, he has persisted. So I will often look in and find out what was going on when you were being carried. So when you were in vitro, when you were being, when you were growing in your incubation period in your mother's womb. What was going on with her? And this is nothing to do with that nonsense of mother wounding and so forth. This is scientific fact. Now, for everyone that knows me, you'll fall off your chair laughing. I'm saying scientific fact. It is proven fact. But for me, being shown these things by the divine goes way past scientific fact. So being able to look in and see what was going on when you were growing in your mother's womb, that created some back steps for you before you even arrived. And then what took place when you arrived for the first 2 years. These things are tantamount to your way of life and how you are able to move through the things that life brings around you. And you will go on to draw those particular circumstances, events that bring those same feelings, because there's something really strange about wanting confirmation. So I just want to confirm that if I do A, B, and C, then I'm going to feel X, Y, and Z. And we just have to do that, as painful as it is. Now, what is that about? That we end up bringing to ourselves more pain than peace. Well, what it's about is what was going on for your mother when she was pregnant, what was going on around her, and then what went on around you for the first 2 years of your life. So when we want to do healing, we need to know what was happening then, because it's not what is happening now. But here's the attachment. So we have an attachment to something that is no longer real. It's no longer your life, but it's being carried in the cells of your body. I heard Dr. Joe Dispenza on one of his podcasts years ago say how the cells of the body are new every 72 hours, every so many weeks. Your whole body has new cells. And that got me to thinking, well, if that's the case, why isn't that person's cancer gone? Why isn't that person's Crohn's disease gone? Why isn't that person's arthritis gone? Because if you've got all new cells, the body's all fully new again, what's the deal with that? Well, the answer is simple. You might have new cells, but what is the frequency and what is the vibration that you are carrying in your emotions, in your feelings, in your words? What are the thoughts? And then how do you express them? Because, as I said today in the Soul Mastery class, if we open your physical self, we can't find you. You're not there to be seen because you are pure energy. Pure energy. So you can't be found. That's why you have this physical container to be able to live in this life. Because without it, well, what would you be? Ghost. What would you be? Energy that's floating around and not able to actually do anything, as in work or, have children, feel love, be loved, and so on. So you have this physical container for that. But in the cells of the body are the stored, held experiences that have never been let go, never been healed. So it doesn't matter how much the body is able to generate new cells and generate a new part of itself. Whatever the situation is that is creating dis-ease in the body, it'll just take over all those new cells. Aren't we just the most fascinating creation that you've ever come across? And aren't we the most complex? I think we're even more complex than an amoeba cell. And an amoeba cell is said to be the simplest form of life. Most complex form of life. But I don't think that we do very well with that. Another thing that has been asked of me recently, yes, Tanya, we are amazing creations and so complex. We make it that way. Beautiful, beautiful young lady asked me about the importance of physical strength and the strength of the physical body when you are going down the path, or is it important to have physical strength to be able to go down the path of living a higher consciousness, living perhaps a soul-led life, and even to enlightenment. Now, we'll just put in here, you are all enlightened, because that's what you are, a pure being of enlightenment. You don't actually have to go and find a way to find enlightenment, and you don't need to remember either. This is another falsity that is put forward. What it is for you to align yourself with your true self. And in that is the enlightened self. And that's a pathway, right? Because this world is loaded in distractions for reasons. You wouldn't learn anything if there wasn't distractions. So the question was, having a strong physical body helps us to have a higher awareness, a higher consciousness. Is this so? Right. Well, there's actually a few facets, maybe a few layers to the answer to this. If you were to go to a real shaman, you would be required to cleanse your vessel. You cleanse your vessel so that it is free of all toxicity, heavy metals, doubtful thoughts, and stuck emotions, so that you can be a conduit for a much higher frequency. If, for example, you wanted to live the life of a true yogi or a true shaman, then that is what you would need to do. You would need to have a strong physical body by way of it being clean, almost pure. I think I have mentioned this before about people saying you need to move, we're moving to the 5th dimension. Well, the bad news about that is if you are harboring thoughts from the 3rd dimension, and they are thoughts that hold you back, that put you down, that are negative, that are low self-esteem, well, you're not going to be able to go to the 5th dimension, and that's as simple as it is. To be able to move any level of consciousness means that you need to be able to have a body that can cope with the higher frequency. So what happens with people that try and push themselves to a higher frequency when they're really not ready, they do become sick. And then what I hear in the spiritual woo-woo is, oh, that's okay. I'm just purging all this stuff. Oh, it's a spiritual awakening. No, it's not. It is that your physical self cannot cope with the level of frequency that you are trying to reach. When there has been something stuck in the physical body and it has become a illness or dis-ease of any description, be it inflammatory or an actual illness or some kind of painful event in the body, how would you possibly be able to move to a higher frequency when you're dragging that along? So the answer to the question about does the physical body need to be strong if you're going to bring in a higher light, absolutely it does. And it also needs to be very fit and healthy. Now, I have heard others in the spiritual realm say that it is totally unnecessary. You don't have to eat well. It's not going to affect how you receive your messages. You don't have to change anything about your weight. It's not going to change how you receive messages. That's not what I'm talking about. I am talking about people who want to shift their level of consciousness through being able to bring in a higher frequency through their physical self. That's entirely different to receiving messages. I once went to a reader, and when he came to the door, I nearly fell over myself. He had a blotchy, ruddy, red, puffed up face, yellowing eyes, reeked of cigarettes. And I thought, well, this is going to be entertaining. Clearly a big smoker and heavy drinker. Did that affect his ability to tap in and bring in messages for me? No, didn't really. You know why? Because he was used to working that way, and he was used to working on that frequency. But if I wanted him to go to a different level of frequency and tap into perhaps one of the archangels or someone, an ascended master, he would not have been able to. So moving yourself along a soulful pathway requires an understanding of what that means to you and where you're going to go with it. Because at any one time, you will only ever be able to go to where you can manage mentally, emotionally, physically. Why mentally? Because to be able to go beyond a certain level of consciousness, you have to be able to leave the mind, to be able to be out of its stories, its victimhoods, its repeating of life stuff, its stories of what went on with family that have not been forgiven and released. So to be able to move to these higher levels of consciousness means you have to be able to harness and be the master of your mind, to be able to be completely aligned with your soul, your true self. I can hear some people saying, well, I've done it before, and I'm going to say, yes, and I'll bet you've fallen off the trolley and you're back where you started. Am I right? Because you haven't been able to maintain that level of consciousness, that level of frequency. Am I making sense to you? Is this resonating? Can you see what it is that is being said here? Because I know it's quite heavy tonight, and it's stuff that a lot of people think that they have mastered or that they've got a handle on. So I'll wait for your comments and see what you're thinking. I could help myself and see what you're thinking, but I won't, promise. I said I've had a big day today, so the energy levels might be a little bit low. Batteries. Self-directed disciplines, true for me. Sitting with those words, Karen, self-directed discipline. Maybe. Yes, it resonates. Thank you. Anyone else still here? Linda Gold, Lisa, Sabrina. Thank you, Sab. Loving this. Understanding more, yes. Thanks, Tanya. You see, this is what is fascinating about you, fascinating about being in this world. Thank you, Joe. There are so many facets, and within each facet, there are so many levels and layers. Laughing a bit with you on some of these things. Yes, I can imagine that you are, Sab. Mandy, you darling. Mandy's saying, I'm years into working with Gwenda and I'm still trying to work it all out. Now, she's given you the key there as to what's gone on. I'm still trying to work it all out. Mandy is a beautiful soul who actually healed herself of a very serious dis-ease. And then she's decided to hand the reins over to her mind. And she has a constant battle with her mind. Am I right, Mandy? So the word trying was another one I was going to address tonight. Anytime that we're trying to do something, we are in our mind. We are in the constructed, patterned, created mind. Now, imagine, thanks, Mandy, and I hope you're laughing, darling. Imagine your mind as being the landscape for a garden. And the reason a garden is the best visualization if you are, and I know everyone here would be too. Thank you, Joy. Yes, Mandy. A garden is about growing things, right? So imagine if your mind was a beautiful landscape for you to fill. Would you fill it with everything that goes on in your mind currently? Would you really? Conditioned words repeatedly spoken, that's right. Which creates a reality. So would you? Would you fill your garden? You have a beautiful landscape. Would you put all of what you think about and ways that you react into that garden? Yes. We never try. That's right, Tanya, but we're taught to try, aren't we? Try, and try again. It comes down to the power of the words. Because what happens is so many people say, I've tried everything, it doesn't work. I've tried, I'm not trying anymore. Yes, it does. And I don't know that the thoughts that many people carry around and the words they speak would be considered good shit. Hey, Joe. Yeah, exactly, Tanya. They are. Every time we speak, we create. So as you finish your day today, think about your landscape that you carry around you. And remember, here's a tricky question for you. Where is your mind? Anyone? Anyone going to say, where is your mind? I'll wait for your answers on that one. Where is your mind? But as you finish your day, truly give yourself a little bit of quiet time. Even get out a big scrapbook. I love kids' scrapbooks. And make that your landscape. Get some coloured pencils or glitter pens or whatever and begin to create your landscape and see what you come up with. Yes. In the moment, hopefully. Yeah, good luck, Tanya. Mandy. Yeah, Joe, I can relate to that. Oh, clever girl, Sabrina. Clever girl. The mind or the ego? Well, we have the higher mind, and then we have its friend, the ego. Either way, where are they? Where do we find them? Where are they held? When you really have the wisdom on that, it will change your landscape. It will change your life dramatically. So, and that's right, Sabrina. The mind is not in your head. It's not even in your body. But the effects of the mind are felt in the body. And your body is your messenger of both the mind and the soul. So everybody, we've always been taught, our head, our brain is here. So that's where our mind is. And the likes of Joe Dispenza and DeMartini and so forth will talk about the neural pathways and the thoughts creating neural pathways. That all sounds fabulous. And you can see the we have the earth mind. So that is the conditioned mind. That is the mind that we learn with. And that will be all around us and in the body. And that will be part of these neural pathways they talk about. However, I'm yet to see any studies that actually show a thought running along a neural pathway. Correct me. If you've seen them, send it for me, because thoughts are energy, you are energy. And if your thoughts can be heard over the other side of the world and your thoughts can affect someone in another room, then how can it possibly be held in the body? Just some things to think about. So make yourself a beautiful landscape, and you might even like to go out in the garden and create. And I did this at my Earth and Soul bush retreat, and it was absolutely amazing what the ladies created. It was a day, if I'm sure Mandy remembers, a day of silence. They weren't allowed to speak. And gotcha, Sab. They weren't allowed to speak. And one of the tasks for the day was to use the ground in front of them for whatever was in front of them. They weren't allowed to wander off and find bits. And they were to create a community, build a community. And what would it look like? Man, did you remember that? With the earth that was in front of them and whatever was there in front of them. One lady immediately walked off to go over and start collecting stuff. And I said, no, that's not what this is. So yes, it was. But you did very well, Mandy, very well that day. Have something that you can work with to create your landscape and really have a look at what you would put in it. So some examples of what you would put in it. It brought up many tears. Yes, I was going to say, Mandy, it was a very emotional day. And yeah, the ladies made me cry that day. It was incredible. So on your landscape, when you think about your landscape as being your mind and what you would have on it ideally, if you let your heart and your soul do the creations on that piece of paper or piece of land, whatever you use, you're going to be amazed what you will put on there. Now, I've got a few artists among us here this evening, and I reckon that Sabrina and Claudia will bring up something absolutely amazing. Yes, I know, Mandy. Me too. So that's your project, to find out what you can do differently on your landscape for your mind. And truly, if you do this, you're going to be amazed at how you feel and what you find. When there are emotions that come up, this is where your honesty needs to step up and you be honest with yourself. And you might want to start a different page for whatever that is that's coming up, or go over to a different piece of dirt, whatever it is that you're using. When you do that, you shift and you heal, and you will feel incredible. And then you come back to your beautiful landscape and see what you put on it next. I'd like you all to drop me a line via the website and let me know what you put on. If you want to send a picture, send a picture. But truly, this is a transformational thing for you to do. And you'll be amazed. And it's so simple and yet so very powerful. So thank you all very much for being here this evening and for your participation, your laughs, your fun. I hope you've had a nice time this evening. And again, my apologies for me not pressing the go live now, having a little chat to myself. I really appreciate you being here, everyone that's watching. So enjoy, and I'll look forward to seeing what you come up with on your landscape. Right, everyone. I'll see you next week. Yes, I will be here next week. I'll let you know when I go on Christmas break, and you'll have those posts up to let you know the dates. Claudia, I am creating a wonderful, magical garden at home, creating a new way of being and feeling a life full of love, family, and beauty. Claudia, I am so excited for you. That is wonderful. It's an absolute pleasure, Tanya. Thank you. Thank you. And love back to you too. Thank you, Kelly. Awesome. Glad you were able to get on, love. I must stop pressing buttons that I don't know what I'm doing. You're welcome, Karen, Joy, Kim Jane, love to you too. Many thanks. Love to you all. You're welcome, Lisa. Yeah, loads of love to you. And Letitia, I hope you enjoyed this evening. Thank you for joining us. I think this is Letitia is a new lady with us, so welcome. Pleasure, Claudia. Okay, good night, everyone.